welcome back to another updated tier list on Honkai Star Rail. And yeah, I know I've been not been consistent with my uploads, and it's mainly because I had an exam to attempt. And yeah, that's the main reason I was not uploading, every day a single video. But now it's all over, so I should be back to, my regular schedule, and I should be able to upload at least a video every day. And yeah, so I thought I'll just quickly update my tier list for DPS anyway, because I'm not going to include supports. It will just take me too long. And I already did put most of the 4 stars and the normal banner 5-star DPSs. And the criteria symbol is E0 S0, and their value goes up as long as they do good on all the 3 endgame, as long as they do good anyway. And the best units will just steamroll the endgame, all the 3 endgame, including Pure Fiction, Apocalypse Shadow, and MOC. So the only ones that I'm going to talk here are, I think, the S tiers, March and Himeko, and we all know what March can do. She's an incredible support for follow-up units, and she has pretty good teams like Fei Xiao, and you know what? She's only good at Facia, but she's also pretty decent with someone like Blade and Doctor Ratio. As long as you can, apply enough debuffs, she's pretty decent with Doctor Ratio too. And she's also pretty good at, with Blade team. I actually had really good success with Blade, and it actually works. And the only reason you're gonna use her with Blade is mainly because Blade doesn't have the best single target damage, so you wanna do good against bosses. You're probably gonna use her. And Himeko, we all know Himeko. She's been getting good with time, I guess you could say, with her being good in follow-up teams. And because of Super Break, she's been doing really well. I'm gonna be honest, the Super Break teams been popping well, and they've been adding so much enemies that are weak to fire. It actually helps Himeko really do well, and I think that's the main reason she's on S tier. And the other notable ones up here are probably Clara and Gwenfin. And we all know Clara. Clara's just solid. She's been solid from the get-go, I will say. And Gwenfin, I think Gwenfin is doing really good on break team as a DPS. With Lingsha and stuff, she's been doing really good. But she's also pretty good on Akron teams if you want to use her. And if you don't have Jachu, I guess, to be honest, I would not recommend being an Akron main with her Jachu. But she works. So yeah, she works. And of course, Mose, we all know Mose. His best team is easily Facial team, but he also does pretty decent in Doctor Ratio teams. So I think he deserves to be on A tier too. And Chinchua is just Chinchua. If you like gambling, I guess you just build her, I guess. And the rest of them are not worth your time to build, but they do pretty decent. And I think the ones that do really decent are probably going to be Servo, Shui. They're pretty decent in my opinion. Servo and Shui, they do their things, but you just need to, invest a little bit more. Now, going to the limited DPS. The first one is going to be, oh, I forgot to place Herda. So yeah, Herda is going to be on A tier too. I think, yeah, she's good on A tier. Pure Fiction, one of the most annoying mods in my opinion, and Herda makes it a little bit like easy, so I guess she deserves to be on A tier anyway. And most of the people don't build, erudition units, so and they don't like the limited erudition units for some reason, so you know, build Herda. It will make your life a lot easy. And I'm sure you can get it, easier or Himeko for free because of the new standard 5-star reward, next patch they are giving out. So yeah, you can also get a Himeko, and you'll be fine on Pure Fiction from now on. And now, oh wait, I forgot to put him. So his physical MC is useless. So let's just continue. Zilla, I think is Zilla's gonna be A tier easily. We all know the reason she's not doing good. The mob's health are so high, she can barely get resurgence now on MOC or even Apocalypse. It's kind of hard for her to get her resurgence stacks up. And she doesn't have that much damage as she used to. Her multipliers are not that high as it used to be. Yes, you can make a Zilla work, but at E0S0, you need incredibly strong relics for her to work. Sunday is going to be a pretty decent buff for her, I think. She can get more ults, more turns. So with Sunday, maybe she'll go up or she will just stay there. I don't know. We just have to wait because I'm not going to include Sunday or Tingyun's influence in this video. But with Sunday, maybe she can go S tier. I don't know. We just have to wait and see how good Sunday is for hyper carries, because I think he's more suited for summons and servants rather than hyper carries. Talking about summons, we have Jinyuan. I think currently Jingwon is probably like a solid A. I think he is slightly better than Zilla just because of pure fiction. He's actually pretty decent in pure fiction. So if you're enjoying, if you're if you're having hard time in pure fiction, Jingwon is pretty decent. I won't say he's the best at clearing pure fiction, but he's decent. Plus he's decent in other modes too, like Apocalypse Shadow and in MOC. At least on stage 11, he does pretty decent. So I guess that. And with Sunday, maybe he'll go up. Maybe we don't know how much influence Sunday is gonna have on Jingwon, but I think it's gonna be huge because his main gimmick, not able to action advance. Um, so Lightning Lord is his biggest weakness, right? Lightning Lord is so slow, so he doesn't get that much damage off of it. But now with Sunday able to action advance Lightning Lord, he will get a lot of DPS in. So I think Jingyuan might get better, and it's not gonna be on Akron level, but I think it's still gonna be pretty decent. Like, will I recommend getting him? Probably not, but ayo, at least he's getting some sort of buff. And then there's Blade that's not gonna get another buff. Sad Blade. Blade is sad, man. I don't know when Blade is gonna get a buff, but hey ho, I think he's still a solid A tier just because he's versatile. Like, I've been using Blade on all the three content and he's been doing decent. He's clearing all the three content decently, and I think that's good enough for him. Unfortunately, he's not getting any buffs as long as if they just release a support that scales off HP or makes HP units do more damage, that would be crazy. I think that's the buff Blade needs, and I hope they release support like that. The perfect support for him will be for Rina from Genshin Impact, right? That health drain mechanisms. If they release a support like that for Blade, that would be incredible. Blade and Jingli will probably go ham again, but I don't know about Jingli that much. But I hope they release a support like that in the future, and Blade will get some love that he deserves. I think it's a big role unit. For a 1.2 unit, he's doing pretty decent in this current meta. Kafka, I think it's just as I think it's more like a package. Kafka and Black Swan are more like a package together. They're probably bad outside each other. The crazy part is I actually used a break Kafka on the current MOC and on the current Apocalypse Shadow. And I think in Pure Fiction we all know it's like a DOT Pure Fiction, so she's destroying the Pure Fiction. But the fun part was the break Kafka was actually pretty decent. It was better than dot Kafka, and I was pretty sad just knowing how broken Super Break is and how good she was in that team. Even though Lingsha was hard carrying that side, Kafka is actually pretty strong, and I think she's strong enough to be the point to be on S tier easily. Not S plus, just because they're not like SHRs, like they don't like Dot that much for some reason. I like Dot, but they don't care about Dot unless they release a Dot support. Dot won't be that high on any tier list in my opinion, but she's a strong DPS or enabler mostly for Dot. And yeah, Super Break Kafka works. Okay, it's a thing. If you want to try, you can try. It actually works. You will get pretty good clears, better clears than Dot Kafka. Actually, it's crazy. Moving on, yeah, Imbibitor Lune. So Imbibitor is simple. You don't have, what am I saying? If you have Sparkle, he's S tier. If you don't have Sparkle, well, he's not even gonna be A tier in my opinion. He relies way too much on Sparkle's skill points, so you need a lot of skill points for him to do a lot of damage. And without his signature, without his E2, he's not going to be on S plus, unfortunately. But I think he's still an S tier unit. Current mobs, they're pretty hard for him to kill. It's not easy. It's mostly favoring break. All the new enemies that are dropping either good for break or either good for counter attacking units like Yunli and Clara because they attack so much. So you can get a lot of. It's not that good for hypercarry units like Imbibitor or Jingliu, but Imbibitor in my opinion still is really strong. Even at E0, if you have Sparkle, he's still S tier in my opinion. So yeah, don't sleep on him, but I would not recommend to get him too because I don't think he's that strong like the current DPSs. And talking about you know hypercarries, Jingliu, what a story it's been for Jingliu. She has been. I'm gonna be honest. I had more success with Blade than Jingliu because my Jingliu can't clear a thing. First thing is because they are not adding ice weak enemies because for some reason they like no more ice weak enemies, only fire, wind. I don't know, fire, wind, imaginary. That's the trend now. So they just straight out hate ice element, I guess, unless they release a ice DPS. For some reason they're not releasing an ice DPS for almost 7 patches now. I think we got our last ice DPS, and that was a 4 star in Misha, and I'm like, that's cool, I guess. So they have zero interest in buffing, I guess her. I guess with the new set and with Sunday, she will do decent, but I don't think she's gonna be S tier even with Sunday. I'm gonna be honest. You kind of need her like Cone and even maybe for her to be like competitive with the break units because we all know the trend. The break follow up is the current trend, and now they're going to the summon slash servant. So I don't know how strong servant's gonna be, but and this new what is the new freaking thing they are? Remembrance pal. I don't know how good the remembrance unit's gonna be, but I can tell you, Jingli is not gonna beat them. I hope she does well because I do like my Jingli, but current scenario not that good for her. Now we have Topaz. Topaz is a tricky one. She is good, but I don't think she's good at E0S0. With her signature, she might be S plus. Without her signature, I really don't think she's S plus. She's like on par with the E6 March in my opinion. With signature, I think she's way better than a March. And if you have her Eidolon, she gets even stronger. Her best teams, we all know. I think her best team is Phase Out at E0 anyway. It's Phase Out team. Doctor ratio teams don't work, by the way. I'm gonna be honest. At E0, doctor ratio team does not work. You need her like con for E0 or doctor ratio teams to work because ratio won't have enough debuffs for counter attacks if you don't know. But she's still strong. Will I recommend getting her? It depends because they are moving away from follow-up teams. I don't know how reliable follow-up team's gonna be, but for the current moment, even without buffs, they're doing pretty decent. And to be honest, follow-up package is complete in my opinion with Peja and Adventuring Robin and with Topaz. It's a complete package. So if you have that team, I think that team will still steamroll any end game for at least another 2 or 3 patches easily. So I wouldn't sweat it. I think Topaz is still a great sub DPS support, and you should get it if you get the opportunity. I will say get her. Me, I just don't care. Argent is A tier. Like the only mode Argent he doesn't even great is Pure Fiction, and even in Pure Fiction he's struggling. I'm not even lying. On the current Pure Fiction, this man is struggling. And Pure Fiction is supposed to be his mode. And he's struggling on a mode he's supposed to be good at. I don't know how, but this situation is really bad for for Argentine. In Apocalyptic Shadow and on MOC he's kinda unusable. At E0 anyway, he's unusable in my opinion. He just doesn't have that damage. You need really good relics, or you need, some of the best supports. And even with that, he's struggling. It's just crazy how bad Argent is. I think it's even worse than someone like Zeal at this moment. Just because he's struggling in Pure Vision, it's just crazy. I don't know how he's struggling, but he's struggling. That's what I learned. Because I barely saw any Pure Fiction videos of Argenti clearing. That's actually kind of crazy. This Pure Fiction, I don't know why. I know it's like dot heavy, but still, man, you're a Pure Fiction unit and you're still struggling. That's crazy. And now let's talk about the free limited 5 star they gave us. Doctor Ratio. I guess if you play that time, he's free, but now he's not. But yeah, Ratio is simple. He says tier. This man was free at a point. If you didn't get him, well, you missed a really good great unit in my opinion. He's real strong, able to clear Apocalyptic Shadow and MOC, pretty decent. Current MOC a little bit annoying for him, but it's still clearable. I think the Hule side is clearable for him, but it's a little bit annoying, but it's clearable if you have Silver Wolf. And if she, her gamble pays off, you can still clear it with him. And Apocalypse Shadow, he's decent. He's a monster in Apocalypse Shadow, in my opinion. His best mode is Apocalypse Shadow, in my opinion, currently. He's unusable on Pure Fiction, but who cares? He's a hunt unit. You don't expect much from a hunt unit on Pure Fiction. Will I recommend getting him on a rerun if he ever hits a rerun? I would not, actually. I think Pei Xiao is better ratio, in my opinion. So I'll recommend Pei Xiao over ratio all day. But as a free unit at that time, I think he's goaded. He's a freaking game changer for me anyway. He was like a game changer because I didn't have inhibitor. And now talking about the other dot, is your like a pair in my opinion. They are like a 2-in-1 package. Does really well together with, but I think Black Swan does a little bit better without her. But Black Swan in a break team does not work, right? But Kafka in a break team actually works. So yeah, get them both if you like Dot. If you don't get them. Dot archetype is kind of bad at the moment, but I still recommend they're pretty decent. Especially on Pure Fiction, they both do pretty well. And MOC on the first step against the choir, they do decent. Apocalypse Shadow is unplayable unless you run, break Kafka. Of course, you can have some fun. And now, give me a second because I had to drink some water because I'm thirsty. I really want this video to be as short as possible, but I think it's going to be a long one. Explaining sucks, by the way. I'm bad at explaining things. Now we have Akron. Now, simple thing, if you want to be an Akron main, you need to get Jarchu. If you don't have Jarchu, yeah, she's unplayable. I think she's a split. I don't think she's a gotcha anymore. Without Jarchu, she's like an A tier unit. I'm not even lying. Her damage falls off without Jarchu, especially at E0 or 0. You need Jarchu. But the good thing, she works on all the three game mode. Especially on Pure Fiction, she destroys Pure Fiction. She destroys almost the. I think the only mode she's kind of struggles is like Apocalypse Shadow. But if you're Jarchu, I don't think it's a big deal. Even on Apocalypse Shadow, she slaps. With Jiaochu, easiest plus. Without Jiaochu, she's bad. That's simple. It's that simple. She's also a little bit hard to build compared to other units because she has some things you need like attack boost and stuff. And yeah. Now we are going into the break DPSs, and we got Boothill. Boothill is S plus. I think one of the most slept on unit back in the day. I think it's more like he released at the worst possible place. Right? He released in between Robin and Firefly, two hype units, and this man was literally unknown at that time because we didn't have any story before him releasing. Right? Unfortunate timing for launch, but I think he is easily the strongest single target unit in my opinion. He's the strongest single target unit, and he's also one of the easiest units to build because he's a breaker. He's a breaker. He's easy to build. Has one of the highest single target damage easily. I'm thinking of other units that does a lot of single target unit, but nothing coming into my mind. So the only game mode is unusable is probably in Pure Fiction. Pure Fiction is not good for him. He does decent with Black Swan. Black Swan and him can do decent. Like you can get 25,000 points, but I would not recommend that to him. It's kind of base. But on Apocalypse Shadow and on MOC, he's like a monster because of all he can add physical weakness. So it's not like he has that problem anyway. He can brute force a lot of content too. Really good unit. Will I recommend getting him? Personally, I like him a lot. He's like one of my favorite units. Like him, Akron, and Rap are like my top three right now. They're fun to use. Even Peishaw's there. I have a lot of DPS I like. It's just he's more about personal DPS, and I think his story is pretty decent too. I like him at the meta point. I think he's easily S plus DPS at the moment. I think the main reason is just because he's easy to build because of his break ability, and he's a physical breaker, and we all know how high of a scale does physical break has. It that after the break, the bleed itself will do easily 60 to 70,000 damage. It's crazy. This man is dangerous OP. But like I said, he gets overshadowed by certain units like Firefly because it's easy. Plus, she has an easier weakness implant compared to him. But I do think they're like on the same board. I think Firefly is a little bit better than Akron just because easy to build, strong team. Break generally is a little bit stronger than Akron's deep of team because like Akron has is like a Jiaochu, right? Jiaochu, Silver Wolf, and she doesn't even have a sustainer that's like really good. Meanwhile, Firefly has HMC, Ruame, and even Lingshan Galaga. It's like really good synergy for her to work. But I don't think she's like god tier. I literally don't think she's god tier at the moment. You can say whatever you want. There's one more breaker in the end, so you'll know who's the best DPS really really soon. Jade, Jade is a weird one. I think Jade is tier. Jade is a weird. Jade is disgusting in Pure Fiction, okay? And Jade does pretty decent in Apocalypse Shadow too. On the second side against that Sunday boss, he's decent. And if there's high amount of mobs, she's decent in MOC too. Like they're adding a lot of mobs now rather than just two bosses. And I do think Jade is S tier. I do think people sleep on Jade a little bit too. I do think an E0 Jade is pretty good. She does have a decent like cone. That Hera shop icon is pretty decent. She does pretty decent. And she destroys Pure Fiction anyway. And Pure Fiction is like one of the most annoying mods rather than I don't think Pure Fiction is hard, it's just annoying. Like people just hate it and People need units that can just steamroll it, and I think Jade is perfect for that. And if you do decent on the other mods and get enough points, I think you should be on S tier minimum, right? Is she worth the pulls? I think she is worth the pulls. Will I get her? Probably not because I'm broke as hell. I don't know why I'm even saying that. But I think she's S tier, easily S tier. Now, for this unit, I'm gonna be honest as hell. Yun Li is just lucky because she's just getting the right enemies, man. She is S plus. Currently, she's easily S plus. I don't know why. After Yunli is released, they are adding enemies that moves 10 times in a freaking cycle, like Hule. They're literally adding enemies that have high frequency of attack. I don't know why. It's just a thing. Plus, she's really good at all the three modes. Like even though she's like counter attack unit, she does decent on Apocalypse Shadow. It's actually crazy, but it's because of her all this. Her all this pretty decent. It's the taunt value, the damage scaling, and she's pretty easy to build. And I think she has one of the best sets in the game. By the way, that Valorant set is so OP for follow-up units. That set is really good. On top of able to use Robin, I think it's like a bonus, right? If you can use Robin, I think that's kind of that already sets you on a really good place. Yunli, I'm gonna be honest, she's just overrated, but the content is really good for her, so yeah, she's S plus. Do I like her? Not really, but is she good? Yeah. I hope they add more enemies like Choir, so she doesn't get that much value. Because if they add enemies like Choir, I think she's like useless. Now let's go to Phasia. Yay! Yeah, we all know where Phasia's going. Easily the best unit, best DPS in the game, and it's because of one thing: follow-up package. Like that follow-up package of you know, Adventuring, Robin, freaking Topaz or March or Mose, who the hell you want to use. That package itself is so strong, and Phasia just makes that package even more stronger. And this woman hits like a truck. By the way, you need to know in MOC we don't have follow-up buffs. We don't have anything, and she does incredible on that MOC, especially on Hula side. With adventuring, I think she can easily get 2 cycles or even 1 cycle if you have decent E00 phase out. And the crazy thing is, she's a hunt unit that does pretty decent in pure fiction with Herda. Like Herda and her in pure fiction can easily get over 30,000 points. I don't know how, but yeah, it works. And you need to know in pure fiction, there's no follow-up bonus. It's just dot and break, and she still does 30,000 plus points for your team. That's second half. I think it's like second half is where she's good. But yeah, she gets enough points for you. So your first team only needs to get another 30,000 for 3 stars. And Apocalypse Shadow, we all know what she can do in Apocalypse Shadow. She's a hunt unit. Hunt units destroy Apocalypse Shadow. So it's that simple. That unit is straight out god tier. A little bit harder to build because of her being in a hyper carry. You need some crit stats, but I was just she's good. And Rappa, our last but not least, Rappa. And I'm gonna be honest, Rappa is easy god tier. And I know you guys gonna be like, why did you put Rappa above Firefly? Firefly has freaking, what is that? Fire implant. Rappa doesn't have imaginary implant. Well, she doesn't need imaginary implant because if they give her imaginary implant, she will break the game. I'm not even lying. If they give her imaginary implant, her synergy with HMC is so strong, she will destroy the game. On top of her, now you'll be like, oh well, what about she's only good in this MOC because of Exo Toughness? It's not true. Even if the Exo Toughness, she destroys the game. And you need to know Exo Toughness is a whole buff to the whole break team. That means Firefly can also take advantage of that thing, but it's just her kit doesn't take advantage of Exo Toughness just as good as Rappa because of Rappa's trace able to stack up to 10 and able to nuke anything, even a boss, even though she's an erudition unit, is actually crazy. Plus, because she's erudition, pure fiction is literally a breeze as long as you have a decent build Rappa, and she's a break unit, so she's easy to build. You cannot go wrong on a break unit, okay? She's a break unit. All you need is a break, and you need some speed, and she will work. Plus, she has a pretty decent normal Lycon. And yeah, people will be like, she needs her signature. She doesn't need signature. Her signature is way too OP. I think her signature is OP. Yeah, it does make her, gameplay a little bit smoother, able to get, turn one ult and stuff. But you don't need it. I'm telling you, you don't need it. And this is from a guy that has Rappa and Firefly and Bootle. I have all three break units, and I'm gonna be honest, Rappa gets way better numbers than Firefly. Even against an enemy that doesn't have imaginary weakness, she did decent. because of, I just need a support that has other elemental break, and she will do the job fine. Okay, she's good. Yes, I do think Firefly's ability to brute force is a little bit better, but it's Rappa, man. She destroys all the three contents better than Firefly. And I'm telling you, imaginary is such an element. It's gonna be on any MOC 11 or 12, and even the next two patches maybe she'll be easily one of the strongest DPS just because they just love imaginary. And this is without Fugue, by the way. If Fugue comes, she's automatically getting another buff because Fugue is literally the current buff. Like she literally gives us so toughness. So it only makes Rappa even stronger. And it's not a big buff for Firefly because Firefly actually doesn't care about it that much. It's crazy, but Fugue is going to be a bigger buff to Rappa than Firefly itself. So yeah, and I think Sunday is going to be a bigger buff to someone like Boo Hill rather than Fugue. I don't know why, but yeah, Sunday is going to make Boo Hill better. So yeah, this is my tier list, and yeah, you can tell me your opinion on the comments because you have the right to speak, and I know your favorite unit may be not cut off for the top tier, but it doesn't mean anything because in the end all these top tier units will help you clear the end game easily as long as you have their signature supports, because in the end supports makes the difference, not the DPS, it's the supports. If you don't have the supports, even these DPS will fall down a little bit, but if you have the right supports, they will pack a punch. And yeah, this is a tier list, and this is the last look of the tier list. Your best DPS in currently is gonna be Fei and Rappa, in my opinion, as a F2P player. And you can say no, or you can just argue. You can always tell me your opinion in the comments because yeah, you can tell me. And if you did find this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe because it really helps. And my throat is literally dried out of speaking because I usually don't speak this much. I'm a silent guy, okay? And this is the last look at the tier list. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. And please do tell me your opinion on the tier list if I made any mistakes because I'm a human too, okay? I also make mistakes. I also sometimes speak my mind, and I think it's the right thing to do. And I hope this video helped you also deciding who to go after. Because in 3.0, new units will come, new DPS will come, new meta is coming, so things will change. But at the time, I will also release a updated tier list. I will keep updating tier list every single patch, so you don't have to worry too much, okay? You guys can always make your decision on your own accord because in the end, this is just a gacha game, and you pull the character you love more than meta. And I did the same. I just pulled the units that I loved. I loved Rappa and I loved Facial, and I pulled them, and I'm happy as hell. And because they do really good on the current meta, and I think they're incredible units, and I had a lot of fun. And I just want to give you out the meta value of them too. So this is the current tier list, and I hope you guys